So here we are, back with my good friend Mike, and we're back shooting the breeze, talking about life and thinking about, this whole series is about reimagining life. What is life going to be like after lockdown? And so, Mike, I was thinking today, and the word that really came up for me is a word called curiosity. Curiosity. And I've been thinking about that word in terms of the frame that we've been giving it and reimagining life. And I just think, the thing that goes, things that when we lose curiosity, when we lose that curiousness for life, I think we start to lose a zest. We start to stop asking questions. We start to just assume that we've just entered into this frame where nothing really matters anymore. And I think that one of the things, if we could stir up, would be to stir up a new and fresh curiosity about the world in which we live. Because I think the world out there is a fantastic, beautiful and awesome place, a place where there is great pain, there is great joy, and everything in between. And a new desire to become curious about the life that we have in front of us, I think, could inject a new energy into us and new vision. So there we are. It's a large and very broad introduction to 20 minutes of chatting. So I'm going to throw the ball to you. What does the word curious mean to you, Mike, and what does it stir up in you when we say the word curiosity?
Yeah, so curious is definitely one of my favorite words. And Dave, as you all know, when I left the corporate world and I started my own organization, I came up with a very, very strange name for the organization, which whether it was clever or not, I don't know, but it definitely had a story to it. And so it was Gold Digger Change Catalyst Agency. And so you worked with the banner of Gold Digger for quite a while. And it often caused people to look at you a little bit strangely because, there's obviously connotations to the word gold digger. But when I started the organization, the essence of the organization was, do we discover the gold in people, in our own selves? Do organizations tap into the potential of their people? Because there is this wealth of gold that is within us, that is within the earth, that is within our organization. But are we curious enough to go beneath the surface and to dig? So curiosity is a huge word for me, and it's unpacked because we ask the right questions. But when I used to often explain the term gold digger, and it did come from a parable as well. So there's a beautiful parable that Jesus told but he talks about life. He says life is like this treasure in a field. But just the way he says, a man upon finding it sells everything he has so that he can have that treasure. And if you and I found some gold in a field, we would be foolish to think that there's no more beneath the surface.
Yes.
Who finds something valuable and then says, "Well, it's just
that's it."
This.
Yeah.
We would go deep. And so curiosity for me is this notion that what you found, there's more.
I love that.
Are you curious enough to go deeper?
So let's play with that. Let's start with relationships, because we've talked about that, and our relationships form such a foundation of our lives. So let's start in our marriage. I've been married 27 years, and you'd think that I should know my wife well, and I should understand how my relationship works, right? And to some extent, I do. I have very good understandings. I know when I've messed it up, and I know when I've done well. But that shouldn't hinder or impinge on my curiosity to understand my partner that much deeper, and to have a curiosity which forces me to ask better questions of our relationship. What kind of questions do people ask? I'd love to hear feedback from those listening. Often people talk when they've been in a relationship for so long, there's nothing left to talk about. Often there's this phrase that comes out. And what actually they're saying is they've stopped becoming curious. They stopped being curious about the partner that they live with. They've stopped asking those discovery questions. Well, why did you think this? How do you think this? Why do you feel? It assumes that the person we understood 10 years ago is the same person now, but it isn't, because we're always changing. I'm certainly a different person than I was 10 years ago. So there's more of me to discover. So how, let me throw the ball again at you. In relationships, how can we become more curious? What are some of the things we can do to prompt that curiosity within our relationships?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one to definitely play with. But I think, it goes back a little bit to your roots and fruits. If you believe that there's no more to be found in your partner, you're probably not going to be looking and noticing. So I think we've got to go back to a root system here. That yeah, and by the way, if you believe that all you're going to find in another person is problem, most of us don't necessarily want to dig deeper to find
Yes.
problem.
Now that's interesting. It pulls you right there, because that let's put that in the category of things that block curiosity is fear. Again, we always seem to go back there, right? The fear of discovering something I don't like can block curiosity. Carry on. That's a good thought.
And I like where you're going there as well. So if we take it away from say our wife, but say another cultural group, if you believe that by being curious about them is going to put your own belief sets at jeopardy or going to rock the boat, you're probably not going to see that there's value in doing it. If you believe that by digging deeper into them and being curious about them actually strengthens and takes you deeper,
right,
we're probably playing a bit of a different ball game. So I think curiosity is strongly linked to. Again, I might be right or wrong here, Davey. You probably answer this far better than me. But in a way, I see curiosity as a bit of a fruit, but it's a fruit that is that stems. Yeah, as I'm saying that, I'm trying to work it through myself, and maybe let's not get too caught up on roots and fruits then. But curiosity is definitely something that flows from the belief that there is more to be found here.
Absolutely. It comes from that root of, I think curiosity is a root. I do. I think it is, there is something in deep inside of us that wants to be curious. But I think we learn these protection mechanisms because maybe we've asked the question before and it's been met with resistance or with anger or with something, and your motive was just really to discover and understand, and yet the other person perceived it as judgment or he's pointing something out. And I think those barriers are there. Also, I want to pick up something you said there is, I notice in religion, people are afraid to discover or be curious of other people's religion or beliefs, because somehow they feel that if they were to understand that, it may take something away from them that they have. And so what that does is people then tend to very cloister their beliefs, and they don't go there. They don't become curious of others or even indeed their own, So again, I think fear and these protection mechanisms are very much at play and stop that that curiosity. Think about children. Think about kids in a playground, or they always say, every child is an artist. It's only when they become adults that some of them think they're not artists, Ask a child to draw something, they'll draw it immediately because they believe they can. They're curious about life, always asking questions. We tend to, older on in a life, we become more boxed, more presented. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I do. And I think children just teach us beautifully about curiosity. And I don't know what the stat is, but it goes something like this. The average 4-year-old or 5-year-old child asks about 500 why questions in a day. And you can just imagine people who are in lockdown with 5-year-old children. You know why they'll be so tired at the end of the day, because the child is curious.
Why?
Yeah, why? Yeah. But here's the thing: that they're curious from a place of wonder, not curious from a place of suspicion.
Oh, say that again, Mike. I think that's a root right there.
Yeah. So a child is most often curious from a place of wonder versus curious from a place of suspicion.
Ah, so good.
And because of that, they're going to keep asking, and they're going to be asking from a particular posture that is going to take them and they're not going to be put off by resistance. They're going to just keep, but why, but why, but why?
Yes, yes,
And that's something to be quite enviable of, because it's the child believes that they're going to find something, and that
yes,
that finding is going to be worth having.
yes. So
Versus,
we go into a field and we trip over a lump of gold and we wonder who put the gold there and why.
yeah,
The
yeah,
child finds the gold and says, there must be more gold under there. How deep does it go?
yeah. Richard Wiseman did those tests. I think that most of them were done in the UK, but he's a psychologist, and he wrote a book called The Luck Factor. But one of the brilliant tests was where they actually put 5 pounds on the
Yes,
path of people. Yeah.
I
and
remember this.
uh, and he groups them into lucky, unlucky people. But what was quite interesting is that most of the people who had been grouped as unlucky, based on their demeanor, never picked up the money. Exactly your frame of reference there, or your thinking. They thought it's sort of like a trap.
Yes.
Um,
So
so, yeah,
to frame it in the context then of reimagining our life, one of the building blocks of reimagination must be the reawakening of curiosity from a place of wonder. Would you agree? Um,
yeah, yeah.
to yeah,
So imagine just reimagining where we are right now, but just putting in the word wonder. I wonder where this is taking us.
mm,
Just the use of the word is probably going to influence the thought process that follows, versus yeah, we in for a rough ride. Where's this taking us?
yeah,
It's yeah,
or I wonder what opportunities this will open for me in the future.
yeah,
I wonder what new
yeah,
wonders
and
there are to be discovered.
yeah,
I think framing it in those positive words, that inspires curiosity, right? Is by having some great questions like that. Maybe it would be good to write those down in a journal and reflect on them, as
yeah,
fuel for curiosity.
yes. So yeah, curiosity, I think, is related then to beliefs. It's created to good questions. I love what you say about, for example, like Kerry. Uh, we would be crazy to think of another person that we've worked them out. Uh, I'm trying to work myself out, and it's a very. But there's an interesting thing: is do we have wonder about ourselves?
Mm, mm.
And do we go into places of curiosity? And it might be, I wonder why that triggered me like that.
Right, right.
Or I wonder what else is beneath the surface here.
So this
I
is
wonder
the
what,
this is the issue of self-reflection, which
yeah,
which is something powerful about leadership. All self-leadership starts with self-reflection. The basis of why am I feeling like this? Why did I react like that? That curiousness. I'm curious. Why am I behaving like this today? Why is lockdown affecting me in this particular way? Great questions to ask ourselves, right?
yeah. And if we go with the positive framing, because we might do a lot of wondering about, why do I do that?
Hmm.
But some great framing questions. I wonder what gift is waiting to be released in this particular situation that we're in right now.
Hmm.
Um, I wonder what light, what encouragement I could bring to the guys in the office right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I wonder how this is going to make me walk strong, with a strong walk a year from now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So I
this
would say uh, curiosity is the root and exploration is the fruit. So
nice,
the root is a sense of curiosity, and how it manifests in our lives is exploration. To
brilliant.
explore our relationships, to explore a new life, and exploration leads to reimagination of a new life. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love those words, because I think curiosity and exploration are especially, that good curiosity that isn't fearful leads to exploration.
Mm,
And it's a beautiful it's a beautiful almost way to position yourself in life, is this exploring new
mm,
beginnings.
mm.
um,
Adventure.
Adventure, yeah.
Mm, mm.
So it's a title that you might want to give yourself. I am an adventurer. Because I am
Yes.
an adventurer, and you begin to just let it flow. I am curious.
Yes. I am curious. Yes.
Because I am curious, I am.
adventure. I explore. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I shared with you, Mike, and now I share with anyone listening. At the beginning of the year, I always find a word I always seem to ask for a word that would kind of be an umbrella or a frame for the year. And this year, the word was adventure. I felt I'm going to make sure that this year's an adventure. Little did I know what kind of adventure we were going to be on. And what that word did is it forces you to be curious when you seek to see that your life is an adventure. And also it's interesting to know that the things that happen to us don't define us.
Yes.
We define ourselves within the midst of the things around us. The things around us don't define us.
Yeah.
I think that's important for us to keep being curious.
Yeah, and as you've been speaking, that just a final thought from me is what I love about curiosity is that curiosity takes us away from an outcome to a present sort of way. So I'm curious about what this is offering me now. The explorer is actually about exploring now, which could lead to an outcome. But the more we're operating in the now, it's a sphere of influence that's available to us. Outcomes we are unsure of. When you explore, you don't necessarily know what the outcome will
Well,
be.
you don't know
But
what's around the corner.
yeah, but exploring, doing, it's a verb. It's a thing now that we're doing, and so it begins to, not that we don't focus on outcomes, but I think the more we focus on the doing, trusting that it will lead to great outcomes is so cool. And I think that's what I love about curiosity.
I love it. I love it. Mike, it's been a great chat today. So the root is curiosity. The fruit is exploration, adventure. May we be curious. May we ask good questions. May we not be afraid to go and do new things. So until next time, let's keep being curious.
Right.